Now that you've seen that there's a huge influx of iPhone videos, of course, it's just come out. We're all getting our hands on them. So this is my unboxing and my first impressions of the iPhone 13 Pro Max model right here. Now you probably know all the upgrades over the 12, right? But I'll just quickly outline it here. Better 5G, better battery life, the new A15 Bionic is the new system on a chip that we have with this, improved GPU performance, new 3 rear 12 megapixel cameras, and 120 hertz screen now, which of course they have marketed Apple as promotion, just like the iPad Pros. But first, a word from our sponsor, ESR. So they have 12 years of innovation and experience with high-quality accessories. They make a huge range of products, and they did send a few out to me to show you. So we've got tempered glass screen protectors, their Hello Lock magnetic wireless car charger, their cases, and wireless charger. So here's one of their cases on my iPhone 13 Pro Max, and it's a very nice fit. Fits on there really solid, high quality, raised lip to protect the cameras, raised edge around here to protect the screen, and that wireless charger, this is it right here. Very nice design, really nice and small. Fits on the back there, and there is, of course, the kickstand right here. Our Type-C port there for charging, 15 watts, so supporting Apple's standard. The last product to show you is this, which is the Hello Lock magnetic car charger. You can see that one fits on the back. Very, very solid. Again, high quality plastic build, rubber feet right here. So if you're interested in any of these products, please check the links and discount codes in the description of this video, and you can also win an iPhone 13. So a new color for me to test out. I got the iPhone 12 Pro Max in the gray color, but this is obviously the gold one here. So I don't want to show my serial numbers on the back there, but we've got these little strips here that you need to pull off. So they're not using that plastic anymore, which I did have a go at in one of my videos on the 12 Pro Max. That wasn't very good on the environment. So there we go, the phone, of course, and just the cable, so Type-C to Lightning. I'm so disappointed that we do not have Type-C to Type-C, and of course there is no charger in the box. That's just our SIM tray tool in there and a little bit of paperwork. There's nothing else in this. So it's the same as before. We've got the Lightning port right here. We've got our microphone, loudspeaker. There's also a secondary loudspeaker, antenna lines. Now, just to point out too, that the transfer rates over Lightning are horrendously slow, or at least for me on Windows using it. It's like USB 2 speeds, so that is super outdated. So here at the top, another antenna line, and the build quality is excellent. I have to give them praise where due, that it is superb. It's very good, the finish on this. So of course we've got the big changes to the cameras here. The main camera, 12 megapixels still, all 3 of them, but it's now a brighter f1.5. We now have a 3 times optical, and that does have optical image stabilization along with the main sensor. The main sensor does have the sensor shift 2 with it, and then the phase detection autofocus. The ultra wide now with autofocus, so that means it can shoot macro shots, and that has an f1.8 aperture, which is a lot brighter than what the previous gen was. So big improvements to the ultra wide, hopefully, which I'll be testing out. So the left side, we've got our buttons. So these are all made out of metal. So I'm going to get my SIM tray into this. So apparently they've improved the 5G support, the coverage, more sort of global bands, and it should be a lot better. Hopefully going to be a lot better on the battery life, because I was really disappointed with the 12 Pro Max that I was getting poor battery life on 5G. And here we are with our front screen. So the bezels on this one, I guess they're not too bad, but of course the notch still there. Still looking very ugly, a little bit distracting, but they reduced the size of it by 20%, which is at least something. It shows that they're trying, aren't they? So the resolution on this screen here, it's 2,778 pixels by 1284. And that gives us a PPI with this screen here of 458. That's the density there. And it's 6.7 inches. And finally, we have 120 hertz ProMotion, as they market it, just like the iPad Pros. And the camera up at the front of this one, 12 megapixels. Our earpiece here acts as a loudspeaker. And then we've got the tech that's involved in here for that Face ID. So unfortunately, there is no touch ID on this one, no fingerprint reader, which I'm a bit disappointed about. Now, the iPhone 13s are, of course, running the new A15 Bionic, and it was already crazy fast, the A14. Now, the improvements to the GPU. Now, ProMotion here now, you do notice the difference, so finally they are catching up. But come on, let's face it, Apple's normally always 2-3 years behind what we get with Android, because we've had 120 hertz now for quite some time. But hey, at least Apple didn't come out and carry on like they invented it, but they've called it and marketed it as ProMotion, of course. We kind of always knew they were going to do that because they pulled that through from the iPad. So look at this performance. This is Geekbench 5. I'll just give you a couple little synthetic benchmarks here that is crazy. That's faster than laptops I've got, okay? That single core score there, that's beating out an 11th gen Intel AMDs. It's just nuts, okay? This is in the palm of your hand. It does get a little warm right here on the back. You do notice that. And I hope that problem with the overheating doesn't rear its ugly head, because I had quite a few issues with my iPhone 12 Pro Max that it would overheat. Even in Twitter, doing nothing, but in summer, it would come up with that message overheating. Now, I did run Wildlife, so this is checking on that GPU performance, and the GPU, just look at this, crazy, almost 60 frames per second for a mobile. That is great. And multitasking here, very, very smooth to swap over to your various different apps. It really is great performance. So ISO 15 has some changes. I won't go into all of that. There's plenty of other videos out there on that, but all up, initial first impressions is, yes, of course, it feels a lot faster now, 120 hertz, but it was still quite smooth and fast at 60 hertz before. And the A15, I'm not really seeing any difference. It's only in synthetic benchmarks compared to the A14. And my thoughts now on the audio performance. So we don't have a 3.5mm headphone jack. Okay, your Android's missing that as well. So I had to use this. So Lightning to 3.5mm. Good quality. It sounds great. It's not bad at all. The speakers do sound very, very good. So they're rich sounding. They've got a little bit of bass. And I'll play you a sample now at 100% volume. So the sound comes out the bottom speaker and then out of the earpiece like we see with other phones. Now, the gaming performance compared to my iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's identical, exactly the same here. I'm really not noticing any difference at all. So I have it set to the highest possible visuals with the highest frame rate, which is going to burn through the battery the quickest, of course. Now, it is heating up a little bit, just on the back there, slightly warm, but it does feel, in that regard, like it's running cooler than the iPhone 12 Pro Max. But this is just, remember, first impressions here, but very, very good gameplay. Visually, it looks better than the Android phones out there. And look at how crazy smooth, it's just silky smooth, this gameplay. And a quick look at our video. The weather has been really bad. At least it's not raining here at the moment. So right now I'm shooting with that 12 megapixel ultra wide, which of course is new now. And it has that brighter, better lens on it, f1.8. I can swap over now to our main camera. See, that transition is really fast. I'll go back to that ultra wide, and then that's the main camera there. What I do like about Apple, as much as I criticize them, is the video performance for a phone is the best out there, okay? I've tested out a lot of Android phones, and normally when there is an exposure change like that, for example, looking at the sky, then something is a little bit darker, and then moving about. With the Android phones, you get that judder that comes through, which is terrible. And thankfully, you don't get it with Apple. It really does have the best video quality. So an improvement here. I mean, this to me looks exactly the same, the main camera right now. So as I walk along, the stabilization seems to be pretty good. And now we do have this, which is the 3x now optical zoom. Looks like a bit of a storm still forming there in the background. And then back to that main camera. What I'll do now is just go down these stairs here, test out that stabilization. Audio quality seems to be quite good. Luckily, the wind has gone now. And now with our front-facing camera, I'm shooting 4K 30 frames per second. You can go 4K 60. So there is no 8K with the rear camera, and of course, this tops out at 4K here with the front-facing camera. This is probably why a lot of YouTubers and vloggers go for the iPhones, is because of the very, very solid front-facing camera quality. A lot of Android phones are never going to be this good. And even the top flagships, I don't think they can better the front-facing cameras on the iPhone. And we're talking about, say, the iPhone 12 series and now the 13. Very, very good here. As I walk along, it's quite steady. And even smoother if I was to shoot, of course, 4K 60 frames per second. But because my videos are 4K 30, I will stick to 30 here. So excellent quality. So battery life, I haven't had enough time to go through a full kind of normal days of use with this. Now 5G on the 12 Pro Max would kill my battery life, and I never really used it that often. And it seems to be holding up a lot better now. I can thankfully say that I am so early on now, still actually, I'm seeing some improvements there with the battery life, which is really good. So it looks like it's going to be matching their claims of being like 2 hours or 2.5 hours better than the previous models there. So the build quality, very, very good. The step up in the cameras, great. The focus is very good. The front vlog footage, great. So if you are someone that for your profession, maybe you're a YouTuber, maybe you're a photographer, or maybe you are someone in real estate, you need a good camera, you need good video, especially video. Hands down, the iPhones are the ones to go for. That is the reason why I go for iPhones, is because of their video quality. It is really something because it does not drop any frames. It does not have that micro judder we see with Android phones. With all my reviews and camera comparisons with the Android phones, you see as I pan around often in certain scenarios, especially in daylight, where the exposure, auto exposure, if I'm using that, which I normally do on the comparisons, it has to change according to dark, shadowy areas and then into the sunlight. It will judder, and it's terrible. But you don't get it with iPhone. iPhone, hands down, the best video quality. The photo quality, typical Apple, sorry. I'm so used to saying Android. Typical Apple, because portraits are warm, but if you don't use the portrait mode, they're not so warm. Now you can go through the different filters and set this kind of grade of photo that you want for your own personal preference there, which is good. There's lots of ISO 15 changes and options and different things in there, and so far it seems to be good. I have encountered one bug though, however. Using the cameras, I was just swapping over the cameras, and then I went out of the cameras, it completely froze up. My screen became unresponsive, everything jammed. I did not expect to see that. So there are some bugs early on with this version, just with the cameras, I feel, and there could possibly be more things there going on. So what are the other things I like about this? Well, the performance is just so quick. I can have a game running in the background, get out of it, and go and do some other things. Jump into WhatsApp, and there's no noticeable frame dips or anything. It's just so smooth, the whole process. And it was like that before with the A14, with even the 60 Hertz. So going from the 60 to the 120 now with ProMotion is a big noticeable change, which is one of the reasons I would go for this phone. If you're coming from the iPhone 10, the iPhone 11 series, this is now a big upgrade. If you're going from the iPhone 12 Pro over to this, you're not going to really get that much of a change. Okay, you get those minor tweaks, the improved battery life, the improved cameras, sure, 120 Hertz is going to feel a lot smoother, but it was smooth to start with anyway before. So it's good that Apple is finally catching up, because it's taking them, they're always 2-3 years behind, aren't they? The innovation that we get with Android with so many different manufacturers. It kind of makes sense we get that level of innovation that we don't with just Apple. They're taking it easy. Minor little tweak, and what should have been called an iPhone 12s Pro Max, this particular model here, they called it an iPhone 13, which to me really isn't. It's more of a 12s. I think it's a 12s, a 12s Pro. So thanks a lot for watching my unboxing and, well, my very opinionated thoughts on the iPhone 13 Pro Max here as a mostly Android user.